Hello everyone, we're here in Brooklyn at the Holiday Inn downtown Brooklyn, and this is a hotel review, but we're going to start with a little bit of a story time. So we're here in downtown Brooklyn at the Holiday Inn downtown Brooklyn, and I've actually been here now for 4 nights, and we are about to head out today and check out. So kind of doing this review in the wrong way round. Normally we start, we come in, we do a hotel room tour, and everything is lovely. We didn't actually get in till very, very, very late on the Monday night, so I already knew I wasn't going to do the review then. But when we got up in the morning, we discovered that there was a pretty massive stain on the sheet, on the bed. It was dark when we got in. We didn't notice it then. But yes, there was a massive stain, and yes, it very much smelled of urine. And once we pulled the sheets back, it was soaked all the way through to the mattress, and very much stunk the room out of urine. So I wasn't in a very good mood at that point, and calling down to housekeeping, they sort of said, "Oh yeah, we'll rush cleaning it for you." And we heard nothing for about an hour. So I called back and said, "Well, can we change rooms because it stinks in here and a clean isn't really going to do it." And so eventually, after some back and forth, we did get a different room. So I won't be able to review the room we were originally in because I wasn't there. However, I will say that that room did have a very, very nice view, of which I'll put a picture in here. And for those that are a bit don't like to see stains and stuff, look away now, but this was the stain on the bed. Yeah, so like I said, really wasn't in a good mood, and I thought I would just give it the rest of the time before I do a review to kind of decide if the hotel can redeem itself. So we will do a bit of a room tour in a minute, but this is very much a been slept for 3 nights in this particular room, so it's not how it would be when you actually come to the hotel. Other than the general kind of datedness of the room, you can probably see behind me and kind of generally getting a vibe for the condition of things. Other things to say, I will say that, yeah, generally the hotel is feeling very dated. They have this kind of flower wall at the entrance. Well, at least that was obviously the design for that because it's not there anymore. There's just the places where you'd put the plants and everything's dead. So that kind of describes a lot about this hotel. They're definitely reaching that point where they're trying to skimp and save. It's getting dated and it really feels it. The other big thing, which you might now be able to hear because it's just clicked on, is the AC is incredibly, incredibly loud. It is really noisy. Unfortunately, we're here during the week where actually it is an unprecedented heat wave. We were getting highs of like 38 Celsius. So the AC was very much needed, but it is very, very loud. I am using noise cancelling, so you might not be able to hear it. We'll get a recording of the actual sound. Let's have a look at this AC, which is this big, massive unit here. And if I put the microphone there, maybe you can see that it really is. It's a loud one, and it basically is running 24/7, especially because we have been in a heat wave. I think one of the big downsides as well to a hotel that's starting to try and cut back is the fact that this particular hotel is pet friendly. Now, I have no problem on the surface with a pet friendly hotel. I have 2 dogs and a cat myself. I would love the opportunity to take my dogs with me on trips. However, if you're going to do that, you either need to have separate rooms for pets, or you're going to have to make sure that your cleaning is up to the job and you're actually deep cleaning these rooms. And that is definitely not the case. There is definitely pet hair about. We saw with the stain in the bed that clearly the rooms are not being properly checked and properly cleaned. So you do kind of get this musty, urine-y, doggy smell, which is really not great. One of the windows in the room does open a little bit, so you can get a little bit of fresh air, which is actually, I'd say, quite unusual for New York. But it is not enough by any means at all. So yeah, unfortunately, this is a bit of a downer review. I hope it is useful to some people. We will do a room tour now, and I'll probably put in some extra footage at the end of kind of the rest of the hotel if I capture any. But that's kind of the crux of my review. If you're coming to this hotel, it is incredibly worn, dated, and for that, I don't actually think it's particularly good value. It is maybe a little bit cheaper than some other rooms in some areas, but for not much more money, you can get a much nicer hotel in the same sort of area. So, yeah, my general review is that this one is not for me. But maybe it is for you, so let's have a room tour and let's have a look. All right, so as far as the room itself is concerned, we do have our entrance here and there's a mirror there. There is also an adjoining door, so, and so did our other room have an adjoining door, so I feel like maybe a lot of the rooms do. But then over this side we have the bathroom. I will say probably the best thing about this hotel room is the bathroom. The one in the other room was not as nice as this, but this is definitely a bit more modern, a bit more renovated. Hello. And yeah, I think, you've got a nice sized sink, you've got toilet, you've got a good sized shower. Water pressure isn't too bad, it's actually quite nice. And yeah, I think generally it's pretty clean in there. I've used the shower this morning, but it's not too bad. Again, our other room was definitely worse. There was definitely some staining on the roof, or the ceiling rather, in the other room. This has potentially been slightly more renovated, or at least better kept. And then coming out into the main room itself, again, yeah, all our stuff is here, so ignore that. But we have got the TV, which is a decent size. There's no casting to the TV or Netflix or YouTube or anything fancy like that. It is just a dumb TV with digital TV, which is fine. Again, it's a budget room. And this is the bed. Now, like I say, we got a different room. I think this must be a queen. It is bigger than the bed that we'd kind of booked. So I think technically we did get an upgrade when we changed rooms. So there is that, I guess. And then you've got a bedside table there, a little bit of a light. Do have some coffee facilities here with some teas and stuff. We haven't tried any of this, but it is here, which is quite nice. And there is also a mini fridge in there as well, which was working and was very nice for cold drinks. You've then got, phone and cooling reception and all that sort of stuff. And in here is just some cupboards. We've got a bit of trash down there, so we'll ignore that. And then round this side as well is your other bedside table with some USB chargers and some normal plugs, which is quite nice, and an alarm clock as well. There is a lamp, it doesn't seem to work, so there's that. And then the view in this room is not quite as nice. It's still kind of cool, but I would argue that most views in New York are pretty cool. There's a whole range of different buildings. We are also right over the AC here, so sorry if that was a bit loud. That's the room really. So we're gonna wrap it up there. I hope this review is useful. I think definitely my advice would be to just think twice if you're going to stay here. I don't like to be that negative, I really don't, but it's not been a good experience for us. But that's going to be it for today. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very, very soon for another video. Bye for now.